Now, what I'm going to read it, and I'm not going to really have an extempore speech. This is the result of my rediscovery of Ladakh, my fatherland. You know, the place of your birth in Ladakh, and I think in Germany and one or two other places is fatherland. In all the other countries in the world, it's motherland. I don't know how it is. So it is a rediscovery of my fatherland in the twilight of my life. So that's what I'm going to really present. Now, this is the 19th IALS. So difficult to say it, IALS. I found that even the members are finding it very difficult. I would suggest let us change it to ILSA, ILSA, International Ladakh Studies Association. There's nothing wrong with it, I think. ILSA. At the outset, let me congratulate the founding members of IALS for recognizing Ladakh as a unique and virgin field of studies. At some point of time, I think 40 years ago, I think they have recognized this. It is important to understand, in the first place, Ladakh, the entity. What is Ladakh? The entity. Therefore, I propose to devote the few minutes available to me to describe this entity as best as I can. The common belief that both racially and culturally, Ladakh is merely an extension of Tibet and lacks an identity of its own is totally ill-founded. True, the influence of Tibetan Buddhism on the spiritual and physical culture of Ladakh is simply enormous. But that's about all. Ladakh is indeed a separate field of study in all respects, anthropologically, geographically, historically, culturally, and linguistically, as I already mentioned earlier. Ethnically, the present Ladakhis are a result of a long process of blending between a Tibeto-Mongoloid race and the Aryan Dardic race. The racial spectrum of this blend runs along the Indus River from purely Tibetan in the east to purely Dardic in the west. Tibetans in Ladakh have been a latecomer. There's historical and geological evidence that the Ladakh of yore was inhabited by the Mons of northern India. And around the beginning of the Christian era, the region was predominantly occupied by the Dards from the Hindu Kush Central Asian region. And in between, the Baltis had come from the Saka tribe of Central Asia. But once the Tibetans spilled over this region, across the steppes of Changthang, northern Tibetan plateau, the then predominant Dards were either driven westwards or effectively assimilated into the torrents of this influx. The feeble Dardic culture was completely overwhelmed by the more vibrant and sublime Tibetan culture. Then the geographical isolation of the region, nurturing the confluence of two races, had helped the region to become the crucible for a distinctive socio-cultural entity. The challenges posed by the harsh Ladakhi climate and the inspiration provided by the picturesque Ladakhi environment have had their telling impact in shaping of the Ladakhi ethos and attitudes. Then at some point of time in history, Ladakh had become an entrepot of trade from all four directions. This has helped the people of this region to acquire their own characteristic outlook. They have come to acquire something of a cosmopolitan air, which many believe that the Tibetans and the Dards both conspicuously lacked. Politically, as you know, Ladakh had been an independent kingdom founded by a Tibetan prince, Palgigon, in 950 AD, before it was annexed to the Dogra kingdom in 1834. Relatively free passage of Ladakh through history without subjugation of any kind has lent the people of Ladakh an unshakable self-confidence and self-respect that, in spite of their economic deprivation, forms the basis of their highly tolerant attitude and the region's truly egalitarian and secular traditions. Historically, Ladakh became a part of the Dogra kingdom in 1834 by conquest. Then a part of Jammu and Kashmir state in 1846, consequent to the Treaty of Amritsar, when Kashmir was added to the Dogra kingdom. And then a part of the Union of India in October 1947 by virtue of the instrument of accession signed by the Maharaja and the Union of India. Over the last half century, Ladakhis have witnessed a general assimilation into the mainstream of the country, like no other ethnic minority. They have come to participate in the vicissitudes of the Indian nation shoulder to shoulder with the people of other regions of the country. Today, Ladakh is a small but a bright patch on the Indian mosaic that instinctively cherishes all that the Indian nation, comprised of a seventh of the humans inhabiting planet Earth, stands for. Importance of this remote and neglected region to India's strategic northern defenses has lent considerable weight to the Ladakhi grievances against long neglect and perceived discrimination, as well as to their demands for enhanced outlays, particularly outlays for socio-economic development, particularly road connectivity, education, and health services. Thanks to the special development impulses of the last few decades, through planned development, today the region is witnessing unprecedented economic activities. The region has been seen in an economic survey taken a few years ago as the fastest growing region in the whole of India. I have seen some recent statistics. Already the per capita income of the region is the highest in the state of Jammu and Kashmir, of which it has been a part. And Kashmir, of which district Leh in Ladakh, which is now the second highest in literacy in the whole of Jammu and Kashmir, second highest in literacy. And starting with, say, two or 3 decades ago, we have been in the last 2 or 3. These are gratifying developments indeed. Today, Ladakh is already a tourist destination. There's no need anymore of introducing Ladakh to the outside world as a tourist destination. The challenge now is to give the right direction to the future course of development so as to obviate the adverse consequences of tourism on the socio-cultural life of the region. It is seen that people have definitely gained monetary wealth but they have already lost on attitudinal and cultural wealth. While they now have more comfortable lives, but they have now less peace of mind and happiness, which Ladakh has been famous for. You will all appreciate this. I know IALS has done some important studies on this unique place in the world. Even this 19th conference has several important papers to be presented in the coming 5 days. I would urge IALS to devote more sessions in future to highlight the following important problems this region is likely to confront in future. Some of these have been already mentioned now. Number one, adverse cultural and environmental impact of haphazard tourism development. To see that Ladakh does not go the way some of the small global tourist destinations have gone. Number two, adverse impact of climate change, that's already been said, which is bringing now and then monsoon winds to this region, which has hitherto been in a monsoon shadow. Global warming is now allowing the monsoon clouds to now and then cross the Himalayan orographic barrier and causing flash floods previously unknown to the region. The studies should concentrate on prevention of disastrous impact of monsoon-related flash floods, as well as on damage control measures to be taken by the administration in the region. Number three, the problem of increasing population and growing unemployment, particularly how local human resources can be made more productive by keeping in tune with the global employment and economic development trends. So these are the problems in future. If IALS could concentrate on, I think it would be of enormous benefit to the region. With these words, I wish IALS conferences and workshops in future Godspeed. Thank you very much.